Oh, we are getting ready to begin, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, feeling pretty good about today. It's a nice day. Welcome to everybody in the chats. Seeing some folks over on YouTube, seeing a lot of people over on Twitch. My goodness, welcome to all of you fine folks. Talon, Tulul, Tulameo, Longbottom, Solus, Eek, the real angry snail, Caden. We got a couple more people in there floating. Matsumiri's there. Thank you for being here, making sure the chat's nice and calm. We got Alberto and Super Nuki over on YouTube. It is a sincere pleasure to have you. My goodness, we have a really exciting day today just because it's a lovely day. Happy Valentine's Day. Oh my gosh, it's so pleasant already. Everybody's showing the love to everybody, showing us care. Look, my daughter even made me like a nice little Valentine's card. She's 4, by the way. Look at this. Isn't this the sweetest thing ever? Oh my gosh, you can barely see it because of the light. But she wrote Dad upside down just for me. And look at this. Oh my gosh. Look at all these happy people. Look at, she said that one of these was mommy, one of these was me, and then like there's one heart that kind of like looks really sad. She's like, no, that's Gabe, because Gabe's always sad. Is that not adorable? Oh my gosh. And then of course she writes love on the back. Pleasant, fantastic day, and I hope that you are having a lovely Valentine's Day as well. And you know what? If you're not, I'm glad you're here because I want to show you that you're loved. I love you. You are a great person, and you mean a lot in my life. Not just because you showed up to this stream either. It's because I know that you have qualities and values about yourself that impact the world and shape people around you, whether you think you know that or not. So keep doing what you're doing and keep that head held high. Oh my gosh, what positivity! Oh my goodness! Crazy good day. We also do have a screenshot contest that was concluded. We'll have more information on that about halfway through the stream. We also have a video to showcase. I am not going to ghost anybody this time. Woo! Glad we got that out of the way. Oh my gosh, just everything's fantastic. Everything's wonderful today. So what we're going to be doing and cracking in this first half of the stream, we're going to be going through the prototype of Everspace 2. This is familiar territory for I know a lot of you, but we're also going to keep the doors wide open for any sorts of conversations and questions that you guys have with the prototype and also with upcoming alpha, conventions, questions on the Discord, upcoming contests, suggestions, ideas, you name it. Today is a day where we're just going to talk, we're going to be engaged, and it should be delightful. I'm also going to turn my fan on because it's already getting warm in my room because you guys are hot. Whew! My goodness. All right. So let's go ahead and dive into the prototype here. Oh my gosh. Whew! I already need a beverage. Oh. Michael, welcome to the stream as well. That's Big Boss Man himself, the CEO, Michael, who has joined both on YouTube and on Twitch. So if there's any questions that do happen to slip by me, I'm sure he'll give a more professional response to them. So it should be good. Adita, I'm gonna assume that is your name over on YouTube. Unfortunately, that's not a question for us because that is not our IP, so we don't have any information regarding it. We are the creators of Everspace and Everspace 2. That stuff is in the past. We no longer have any control over what happens with it and where it's going, so you'd have to ask the people who now have that under their belts. Otherwise, let's go ahead and start things off with the ships inside of this home base and the Cedo system. I am going to be kind of making attention to details through the prototype for anybody who was like really paying attention to the last week's stream when we covered the lore of Everspace and Everspace 2. And if you did come around for that stream, I did give a little bit of spoilery-ish sort of territory of what could be happening with Everspace 2. So if you missed that, you better go watch the VOD before it disappears. Otherwise, you're just going to have to play through Everspace 1 and really absorb that story to understand where things are at before we catapult ourselves into Everspace 2. It was a lot of fun covering all those details, and some of you guys were making some really good observations, so thank you for that. I also want to point out, too, that anytime that we're discussing any sort of topics as we're in development, sometimes you guys bring up some really incredible points that might even shift our ideas forward. So keep staying active in those conversations. You guys are rock stars. Really appreciate that. Very, very good. I don't know how to get Nightbot out of here, Tulameo, all right? I don't know. I don't know why he's just popping up and telling to follow me. It's crazy. But hey, he's got the Discord, so that's good. Discord's definitely a place to go. Will there be engine customizations where it's just one big thruster instead of multiple jets? Oh, I'm sure that will be a visualization. In fact, like in this particular ship itself, let's just look. Actually, we skipped one. There's a small thruster. It's a smaller one too. You can kind of see some of these. That's a pretty decent sized engine. But like right here especially, that's one big thruster doing the trick. Maybe those are going to be coming in larger sizes as well, to Jackson's question over on YouTube, by the way. So, yeah, I mean, I think that we'll see a bit more variation than what we already have, for sure. But time will tell, of course. Oops, I need to go back here. Change my look. I'm going to go ahead and go back over to this. Anybody who's not familiar with what I'm doing right now, this is actually a command you can use in the prototype just by pushing the U button, and it cycles through the different modules of the ship. Because the entirety of Everspace 2, your player ship is using a modular-based system. What that means is that the body, the cockpit, the wings, the engine, all of these things can be interchanged with one another to create a very dynamic array of playable ships for you to choose from, just from styles alone. But then, of course, there will also be a lot of different stats associated with each of the different types of ships as well. So what you see here, this is the Sentinel ship. We have the Interceptor right here, and then we have the Assault Fighter right here. And the differences in the prototype, they're really not much, but they will become far more separate from one another, similar to the ships in Everspace 1. In Everspace 1, each of those different playable ships offered a completely different play style. And that's what we want to shoot for in Everspace 2, in addition to having a very deep itemization pool and customization of your pilot through experience gain. I'm already covering a lot of stuff. I want to dive in. I'm sure you want to see me play a little bit, so let's go ahead and do that. Oh my gosh, you guys are so much fun in the chat. I love you all being here. What's my favorite number? Oh gosh. That's a hard question. It kind of changes depending on what's going on in my life. Right now, for today, I think my favorite number is 2. Because that represents 2 people who just really love each other. I find it appropriate for Valentine's Day. Wonderful. Alright, so we're going to blast these guys to smithereens with just our pulse lasers. We don't even really have to do too much work, especially with how we've recategorized all of the information and damage within Everspace 2. For those of you who don't know what's going on, basically pulse lasers are now also good against hull, but they're really terrible against armor. So if your opponent is armored up, you're going to have to swap over to an autocannon like this. Otherwise, I'm just collecting some loot. Nothing too crazy, nothing too deep. Controls are very, very similar to Everspace 1, but we do have a couple new tricks that we can do, like grabbing things with our grapple, hauling them around. We're going to go ahead and let that go for now, because I want to get to this little secret nook in the asteroid. Oops, I was locked onto a target. That was silly. And grab some items. So let's talk a little bit about the itemization, because I feel like that's going to be... this is such a strong talking point, especially for people who have no idea what's going on. Basically, this is a situation of Space, Diablo in space. Okay, it's like Freelancer meets Diablo. I think that's what Michael says all the time to people, and it's fairly accurate too. So each of the items that you're going to be collecting are going to have different modifiers and attributes associated with them that will better yourself in some capacities and worsen others depending on what you pick and choose. So for example, just this plating alone, it's given us more structure and firepower. Both of those are keywords, which are attributes of your ship itself. You have 6 different attributes, kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons character, if you will, where you have 6 different attributes. And here, those are going to shape and change how well you do damage, how well you defend against damage, how well you repair, etc., etc. Some of which are kind of minor details, but when you start stacking up the figures, it can really change and shape the way that you're approaching it and playing the game. Let's see. So nothing too crazy of what we found here, but we did get some more tractor beam range, which is always nice. I always like a bit of utility. Otherwise, we're just going to be flying around here and looking about. Here's an ancient damage glyph. When we're holding this bad boy, we dish out more punishment. Wonderful. Took him out very quickly. Here you can see that even with our damage increased, we are doing very little against this armor because we're using this pulse laser, right? So we would have to cycle over to the autocannon, which is just going to drain him super fast. We also don't want to drain him entirely because I also want to show that these barrels that he's throwing, we can actually throw them right back. That grapple mechanic's going to come in useful to a lot of different unique scenarios and missions that you'll undertake. Sometimes you might need to lug somebody out of a situation. Maybe you need to rip a panel off the interior of a capital ship. Maybe you have to like grapple something to smuggle it through a location instead of putting it on board. There could be a lot of different uses for the grapple, or maybe you could even just like straight up grab a drone and chuck him into an asteroid because he's really annoying. And with some of the new drones that we did showcase recently, it might be a really strong option to do so. Just get in the fray and throw them away. We're also going to poke inside of this little asteroid here. Take out this turret, collect some goods, and then we'll check and see what yo guys' questions are, because I know you're asking questions. I see over there in the comments. Nothing too exciting, but that's fine. We'll take it anyway. Excellent. Love Freelancer. Hey, we do too. We were lightly inspired. I do also want to point out that while we do love Freelancer ourselves, we're not like copying and pasting. Like, we're not saying this is some sort of like spiritual successor to Freelancer and some crap like that. I think that's just a silly thing to say. But obviously, yes, we have been inspired by Freelancer, and we are moving in a direction that is very much our own vision, something that we think that a lot of people are going to enjoy and be able to just have a lot of fun with. It's something that we wanted when we were kids, except now that we're adults, we can actually make it happen, and so we're making it happen. You've got this shadow creature over here. I'm going to fly over on this side. So a lot of these different spaces in Everspace 2, because it is a open world RPG now, that means all of these different locations and all of these different sites that you're going to be venturing to, they're all handcrafted, first off. So this is very different from Everspace 1, just to start, right? Second thing is that because they're handcrafted, we're going to be able to put a lot of little challenges, a lot of little events in these varied locations to kind of test your wits and give you little rewards for completing them. So here we have this shadow creature, and we're tasked with finding another creature. We see it's over there. We want to just stay in the shadows, hence the name Shadow Creature. And when we do so, we get rewarded. So we got a little bit of dark matter here. They're all happy. We're happy because we got a little bit of something too. It's perfect Valentine's Day present. It's wonderful. So see what's in the ship. Got some small arms, credits, solar panels. I think small arms is something to talk about just for a second. This is a common commodity. Some people in the Discord have been remarking it would be so cool if there were like illegal goods that you could procure and travel around and distribute to various planets and sell them for profit and stuff like that. And that's definitely something that's on the table. We'll have more information about the distribution of goods as well as the dynamic economy that we would potentially be using in Everspace 2. That's going to be in the future. But yeah, I mean, you guys have been coming up with some really clever ideas, some really clever inputs, and there's stuff that we do want to accomplish as well. We have to see if that's something that is going to work best for the game space. So no guarantees on it, but it's definitely stuff that we're looking into, stuff that we do think would be fun. So here's some guys. This one's purple. So what does that mean? What does a purple guy mean? It means he's a higher level than us. We're a mere level 2. He's a level 4, so he's going to be a little tougher to take down. But because he's just a drone, I think we're still going to be okay. And these guys, look at them go. All tangled in a bind, making it easy peasy for us to take out. They were really embracing the spirit of Valentine's Day. That's for sure. Secret cow level confirmed? Oh my gosh. Space cows. Woo! You know, there has been a lot of talk about critters in space, and we'll definitely be doing stuff like that. But space cows? I don't know. I think I think we'll leave the space cows to other franchises and their weird color milks. All right, let's take out some of these armor drones. Wow. Peace out, Girl Scout. Excellent. So just nice little clear in this area here. We're going to go ahead and go right on back to the home base, because there's another little slot here to bust open wide and collect. We want to grab this cargo unit that's hidden amongst the wreckage. Delicious. Whoa! Getting a little frisky with the walls in here. Much better. Alright, let's dock. Stuff would be dope, wouldn't it? Oh my gosh. Omicron Theta system. Oh my gosh, Talon. Ah! The memories you're bringing back. It's crazy. That's awesome. Space snails. Oh my gosh. I'm glad Tuleveo said, LOL, got him. You know exactly what I'm talking about, and I appreciate that. Where can I learn to type and play video games at the same time? Type and play? You mean like, oh my gosh. I remember in my youth that we actually had, there were like video games that you could, like, you had to type out the words. There was like this missile command type game where like there were words falling down, you had to type out the word. You could look up something like that. They're probably pretty dated, but could probably help you out. Oh my goodness. But that has nothing to do with Everspace 2, so let's let's focus in here. Oh my gosh. So let's go ahead and look at some of these new items that we got. We got this valuable cargo unit, which when we apply here, it actually gives us more slots within our cargo just to hold stuff. So this isn't just for expanding your cargo. That we feel would be a pretty big waste of space as a module on your ship. So instead, this has a chance to roll different attributes and modifiers on it as well. What that means is that a cargo unit that you could find, maybe you find like a legendary one and it has like twice as much cargo slots to add to your ship. Plus, it increases your firepower, and it increases your shields if they're a certain type of shield, or your armor now reflects shots, or, you know, some other attribute that could all just be associated with the cargo unit itself. So this is another way to diversify your builds and get a couple more modifiers in there, just for all of your crazy customizing needs. Whew! Very, very good. Playing a game with WASD is kind of like typing? Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. Oh my goodness, too little, too LeMayo. Making a statement like that, I do have to address it just because. So, Too Little Too LeMayo says, is it random or will there be logic? You're not going to after a loot box system with randomized stats, are you? So, one of the basic foundations of Rockfish games being established is actually to avoid a loot box system. And that's not something that we really want to go in a direction for. We want to make premium games, not pay-to-win games, not microtransactional models or anything like that. So you will buy Everspace 2 once, you'll play it forever, and you will not have to buy $2 for a special weapon here and $4 for a special ship there. It's not gonna work that way. If we were to go any route of any kind of microtransaction stuff, it would be more akin to a system that helps fund us and gives you a nice little complimentary reward as an aesthetic, as opposed to we're going to take your money and lock a specific core item behind a paywall. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. But honestly, like, even aesthetics, like, that's not even a discussion point for us right now. So don't worry about it. You will not have to spend extra monies just to play something a certain way in this game. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next area. So I think we've exhausted everything out of this site. So we've just gone into super light travel. So we're in full control of navigating this very massive solar system now. There's a lot of different places that we can go. There's a lot of different things we can do. Actually, I'm going to go right back around. And we go to this unknown location that's pretty close to the home base. And I'm just going to lock it in so it flies us down automatically. Now, we also have a skip button so that if you don't want to wait to travel to a new location, you can just go right there. Doing so, you may miss out on opportunities through that traveling where somebody might be trying to talk to you or reach you, or otherwise you might find an unknown signal or a cosmic anomaly or something like that that could be useful to you. Though you could also get interdicted and somebody might be trying to take you out. So depending on how you want to play, you have both of those options. A more realistic fashion of wading it through, or a more arcadey action that says, get me where I want to go. Now, where is this guy? He's right behind me, isn't he? Yes, he is. So this little evacuee, he's stuck out here and he needs us to tow him over to a new location. Any expansions already planned? Woo! That's a bold question. We are not like, we don't have like content planned for any DLC or anything like that, but we know that we're going to get a lot of feedback through development, just like we did with Everspace 1. So we do have plans for launching a DLC. We just don't really know what that's going to include right now. A lot of times games are hit with, especially like early access games, are hit with a lot of feedback, right? And so you have massive content creep, and that can delay a game. We don't want to delay the game. Instead, what we want to do is we want to pick and choose what's really best fit for the game that you guys offer up, you guys suggest, and we'll apply that for that full release. And if there's still more stuff on top of that, that would be really freaking cool, and we have a greater vision for something else to add, then yeah, we'll actually incorporate that inside of a DLC. So yeah, that's kind of the plan as of right now, but it's not like we're not like building the DLC right now. No, that we'll build the DLC when we're done with the game. Shoot. So we brought this evacuee back. He's thanking us for our hard work and pulling him over to the station. And in good quest-given fashion, for completing it, we get a little bit of a reward. So here we get a little bit of earth wine, which will be delightful. I'm also going to check out this asteroid. I was like turning the HUD off because, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous, especially when you don't run into a wall. Oh my gosh. I really love the detail work that the team's been chugging away at. Mad props to Marco, Matthias, I mean, obviously there's a lot more than just those two guys. Those are two guys I'm thinking about the most. But, yeah, it's really crazy good stuff, getting all this detail work in line. And this is just a prototype. As a reminder, it's going to get a lot more cleaned up, especially with some of the new visuals that we're planning on utilizing. So it'll be great. Hey, Frito, how's it going? You're saying the DLC won't release before the game releases? I know, what a concept. It's crazy, but we're gonna see what happens. Will some gunship cockpit customizations be more towards the back rather than at the very front? That's an interesting question. I'm assuming you're talking about kind of like a turret vision, maybe? That could be kind of fun. You'll definitely have to poke in on Discord or go to our forums and make that suggestion, because I quite like it. Most of the interior cockpit customization is going to come down to how you're visibly able to see out of it. So like, for example, you could have like 2 lines that come straight down, right? Or you could change it to where there's like 4 that ebb around. So there's like a circular viewpoint. Or maybe there's a crossbar that comes across. You know, you're going to have that sort of customization from the interior of your cockpit, as opposed to like wildly change how the cockpit's going to function overall. Even here at this station, you'll see like these different cockpits. They all have a pretty similar theme about them and how visible they can see around them. So you'll have the front, you'll have the sides here, right? Each one of those has this front and a little bit of side work on all of these types. Even this one that's down lower, which the wings will actually block your vision if you look left and right. But you still have a pretty similar full range of motion with how you can see based on each one of these cockpits. And the gunship's going to follow those similar rules. It's a great question, though. I love that question. A very great question. So that's how those cockpits are going to be utilized and how they're going to function. Very, very good. Will there be space police? Excelsior, your question. So what's great is, did you make the lore stream last week? Because we actually did talk about a force that does police the DMZ. That force is actually known as the Okar. They were the territorial aliens that lived here first, prior to the colonials moving into the territory. And because they had prior claim, they're the ones who now enforce the treaties that are in place. So they kind of operate as a police force. And I'm pretty confident that if you were not acting accordingly, whether that was you being tipsy or otherwise, that they are going to intervene with your actions. A good question. All right, let's sell some of these items. And ooh, a handling change? I will absolutely take that for the cargo unit. Make us navigate a little bit better, for sure. And I'm just going to start selling some of this stuff that's not really going to do us too much, but give us some nice credit options for the future. A lot of things to sell. I also do want to take a moment to talk about the difference between a common tech resource like this and a common ore. So these are not going to be the same sort of values and same sort of traits applied to them. One of which is mechanically made, so it's you know, and the other one is a naturally made, right? So because there's that difference here, there will be different value changes and price point differences based on where you take it and also what you can do with it. Some people have been kind of guessing if there was going to be like a crafting experience in Everspace 2, and we've kind of talked about it a little bit. But we did have crafting in Everspace 1, so I think it would be something silly for us to avoid. I'm going to say it like that. So because there are different types of ore and different types of resources, like commodities, that are styled in a way that could maybe build into something else, we'll have more to talk about whenever that time is right for Everspace 2 and what we're doing with those options for you as a player in your customization, as well as modifying previous items that you've collected and whatnot. So lots and lots and lots of things, basically. And wait later, because we can't show you now. Excellent. So we just made a pretty penny by selling all this stuff. Now let's go destroy a base. Michael has a better explanation for the question pertaining to DLC, and I am going to read this out loud for everybody. This is an answer on YouTube. He says, to be more precise, we are designing the game world with the possibility of having major expansions post-launch, even beyond what we did with the Encounters DLC for Everspace 1. Okay? So, that's great clarification. Basically what that means is, if we're successful, you guys give us a lot of assistance through funding and appreciation, and the game sells well, then yeah, we're going to hit hard DLC. We're going to make a lot of content there. If it underperforms and things don't go as well as we'd like, then we're going to look at our options at that point in time. So that means that there's not guaranteed DLC. It just means that we would like to plan on something for the future. Obviously, we'll get there after the game is launched. So I want to put a lot of emphasis there. This isn't something where we're already designing a DLC out for everybody. That starts when the game is finished. So thank you for that clarification, Michael. Alright, so diving in over at this base, we have an objective now to destroy the Outlaw base. And we've got these couple items that have been highlighted in orange. A little quick quest where we have to take this guy down. And this is very much an example of how something like this could work. There could be a lot more to it than just this. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. That big kind of structure that I took down over there on the side, that actually increases all the damage of the opponents around them. So taking that down is sometimes a priority, especially when there's a lot of drones flying about you. We're leveling up pretty well, too. This is nice. Alright. Perfect. We still have a couple more banners to take out. Destroy their insignia. So his ownership is gone. The main core is now opened up. Oh, come on. There we go. Beautiful. So now I just take out the last little guy. He's nothing too much. He's the same level we are. Shouldn't be too bad. We just EMP'd him so he can't go anywhere. Nice. And we also EMP'd the mines. So whenever an outlaw madcap explodes like that, they do launch a group of mines, but we completely negated them because of our Sentinel's ability of an EMP boost. EMP shot, rather. So a nice hard counter to Madcap right out of the gates for the Sentinel. Another turret. What? Oh, it's over here. Okay. We're also going to see if we can go underneath the base to find a little bit more gear. In order to do that, we're going to use our grapple mechanic once again. So we'll fly right up to the door. We're just going to pull some of this stuff away. Oh, it's a lot heavier. We might have to get an upgrade to make this move faster, or maybe fly in a heavier ship. Just gonna pull it out of the way. Oh, come here. Physics. Alright, get out of there. You could also use something like that as a shield in combat, but you might be careful because rotating debris that you're hanging onto might accidentally bump into you, and it could be more harm than good if you're not careful. So now that we're underneath this base, we're just going to take a couple items from them and activate some drones, and we'll get right on out of here. There is a force field right here, so if any of you are wondering, like, why doesn't he just fly right in? Can't actually do so. We would have to destroy the shields on that other side first. Alright, let's go ahead and head back to this base again. And I'll check out some of your questions and make sure that you're getting answered. Otherwise, how are y'all doing? I hope that you're having a good day. I'm having a good day. Will there be value in this game for role players and people who want to develop a character? Think Elite Dangerous. So, Super Nuki, there are those types of opportunities, I would say to a less degree than something like Elite. But the capacity that will be done here in Everspace 2, we are calling this an open world RPG. So you do decide how your character is going to interact with the world and various factions, how you want to behave. All of that is at your discretion, and just like the same in any RPG. So you do have that offering to you. However, unlike Elite, we have a very definitive single-player campaign that gives you a focus of how your character is growing to understand himself, meeting various characters, and confronting a challenge that he's never quite faced before. And that campaign we are offering should be close to about 40 game hours for you to experience. Aside from that, and of course, you can branch away from that experience at any time you would like to go absorb and explore and engage to your liking, when you want, how you want, wherever you want. Boom. A really great question. Will there be large shipwrecks on the surfaces of planets? And if so, can we fly inside them? We actually have a GIF of a ship that has crashed on a planet. It's a freelance drone carrier, I believe. You should definitely find that, check it out. I would pop it up right now. It might be a little challenging for me to do so. But yeah, yes, the answer is yes. Fly inside them? Maybe. Maybe. But we do treat each of the locations, including planet-side locations, as a fully explorable, handcrafted environment. And through that, there could very well be pockets and holes inside the planet core that you have like a little dungeon to fly through, or a station, or a downed, ship that has an interior space for you to crawl through as well. Very good questions. Bloodstar, hey, how's it going? How is your, was it a train? I don't even remember your port of transport. My goodness. Yeah, chat's a little quiet. That's totally fine. I think everybody is absorbing the content, asking some really good questions over on YouTube, so I do appreciate you guys with your activity. Build your own pirate station. There is a home base, but we will have more information about what that looks like and what you can do with it in the future. Right now is just not a good time to talk about it in those details. Dungeons in space! I don't know, right? Pretty fun, pretty cool, right? We think so. Excellent. Alright, let's go ahead and head to another location. Let's go to that star. It's always a fun one to go to. This game just keeps getting better and better. I'm glad that you think so. At the same time, if it doesn't, if things don't look pleasant, I do hope that you raise your concerns with us, because this is very much an active development routine we are applying. What I mean by that is we do have an alpha that's going to be coming up, I think, in April, and your feedback is absolutely invaluable to us. Like with Everspace 1, we got a lot of feedback there. It shaped and changed the games in a variety of ways, which was largely to everybody's benefit. And we are absolutely going that same route with Everspace 2. So at any point in time you guys don't think it's getting better and it's taking a back pedal, please let us know and express why, so that we can all come together within our community and within our development branch to make it the best it can possibly be. Let's go ahead and talk to these scientists, see what's going on there while I'm poking about with more questions. I missed the question that Tulameo asked. Oh, there it is. So his question was, and Michael responded, so we'll read that aloud for everybody on YouTube. Would main story continuation be considered for DLC given the game isn't a roguelike anymore? So Michael says, good question, but too early to answer. I can share our high-level thoughts, though. Generally, only a minority of players finish the main story, so we would prefer expansions adding to the overall game experience without having to play through the main campaign first. So it'd be very similar to what we did with Everspace 1, where instead of having to beat the full story to get to the DLC content, instead it's like you buy the DLC, boom, it's in your game immediately. You're going to start experiencing that content regardless of where you're at with that story. And this does apply to basically any genre. So for that one, it was a roguelike, sure, but it wasn't complete the story to get to the content. Now, open world RPG, we have a very similar mindset in that approach if we do pursue that DLC content. So great question, obviously great answer, boss. So very, very good. Oh, Michael, I had the best answer. I should have said that. So when Jackson asked, will there be large shipwrecks on the surfaces of planets, and if so, can we fly inside them? Michael responded with, would be dope, wouldn't it? Oh, of course, of course. Of course. Beautiful. Beautiful. What about story expansions? See, I think that would be an entirely new conversation we would have to have internally. So really too far out to tell, Tulol. Really too far out to tell. Whew, that star is bright. But it's not too bright. It's not blinding bright. I'm assuming that's because of some super advanced sensors in our cockpit allowing our pathetic human vision to operate accordingly. Alright, let's get these solar panels activated, and let's also attempt this uphill slope. I know I don't have really good engines and stuff, but there's been a little bit of a community challenge in the prototype to see how quickly we can accomplish this. This is going to be another attempt on my part. Who knows? Maybe it'll be awesome, or maybe it'll be hilariously terrible. Up! Up! It's looking like the hilariously terrible side. $19.45? That feels pretty good. That feels pretty good. Alright. I don't know where I stack up with everybody else who's been doing that challenge, but I'll take it. Hey, Andre, how's it going? I'm great. How are you? How's your Valentine's Day treating you? Let's also go ahead and fly over here. Oh, wait. Actually, first let's activate this solar panel that we're nearby. And look at this. It's like a web that caught a bunch of drones. Interesting. Alright, so we're going to grab this power core. This kind of goes into some more of the added detail work that we're doing for like little side quests that reward you for your exploration efforts. So here we put this power core into that power socket and it opens the door. So we have another power core here. These would probably be a little bit harder to find in the full game, of course. And you get rewarded some loot. Ooh, a beam laser. Let's go ahead and equip that. Also a coil gun. So we'll just swap out the weapons for something a little bit new. For a beam laser now, and our coil gun. Both a strong blue color. Alright. I'll take it. Whoop. Alright, let's head back over to this base now. What's the time? Alright. Any chance we'll encounter some random space phenomenons, like an asteroid impact on a planet or a supernova? That would be pretty dope, wouldn't it? I would say it was lonely, but great. Oh, that's unfortunate, Andre. Well, know that I love you. You're a great person. I'm glad that you're here and you're spending your time with me. You're fantastic. Don't let anybody make you believe otherwise. Is there a leveling system, or are ships unlocked with credits? There is a leveling system bound to this, and ships are also unlocked through purchasing them directly. So whenever you fly to a station, for instance, one of these options here would actually be a ship dealer. So you would go to the ship dealer and you would say, hey, I'd like to purchase that gunship. It looks really great. And you're going to be really disappointed when you buy a gunship because it's inferior to the Scout. But regardless, you'll make that purchase, and then you will have that new ship at your disposal to be able to customize, add items on, and all of that type of stuff to your delicious glory. As opposed to how it works in Everspace 1, where you're bound to one ship the entirety of a run. In addition to that, you will have a leveling aspect where whenever you accrue more experience, you'll choose certain unique the word I'm looking for is perks. Perks. You will choose perks based on a leveling track for your character, and those are going to give you distinguished qualities and how you are utilizing your equipment. It could be something pertaining to your devices, which are unique to the ships that you're flying. It could be something bound to just a specific core attribute, say your handling, and all of the things in between that. So you'll have customization as you level up, and then obviously through buying different ships, you will be going about all those different things in that capacity as well. Yeah, Scout moment. Sorry, did I ramble about the Scout? I completely missed it. It just comes so naturally. Alright, let's take out this Madcap. He's stuck on that asteroid. Oh, the beauties of prototypes. I'll take the experience, though. So let's go ahead and fly down to this site and show you another little hidden detail. And then we'll also, let's see, how much time? I'm trying to time this because I have some really cool stuff to show that the community's been working on. You guys have been really cool lately. So we're going to fly in here and, ooh, some goody goodies in this freight container, which we're going to try to carry with us. Oh, this probably isn't. It's kind of bouncing us around. It's hard to hold. We'll just, oh gosh, please don't run into that. Okay, we'll just, we'll deal with that later. Oh, hello, transports. So let's go ahead and get this last sensor online. Then we'll jump to the last location. It'll be great. So we activated this last ship panel. There's going to be a discussion. Let me see if you guys are throwing any comments our way. Oh, this is actually a really good question from Pelion Lives. I think that's how you pronounce that username. Says, curious, are Everspace 2 environments designed to have a correct or up orientation, or are they more realistic with bases and stuff sticking out in random directions? So Michael did answer it. And yes, we do have an orientation that we are applying, especially because it's arcadey. We want to give a natural feel of cruising through location to location, as opposed to like having to reorient yourself every time you go somewhere, which could be a little bit needlessly draining. And we just want to keep you into the game area, keep you into the play, so you don't even have to like reorient yourself. Now, if you want to spin freely and do whatever you want, you still can do that. Like, there's no limitation of that. It's just, we're not going to have stuff poking out in all these random different directions. Unless it's aesthetically pleasing, and that's just the general environmental design that we choose. But I digress. Alright, so these shady scientists gave us very little credits for our services, so we are going to head on away and somewhere else to see what else we can find. So we'll go ahead and lock onto this site, see where we go. What if I don't want to pay this ship dealer for the ship I want? Space Outlaw Forever. So you're like, you want to rob him? That might be tricky to do. That might be even, like, from a gameplay mechanic, that might be tricky to do, because you never actually get out of your ship. Oh, here we go. We found an unknown signal, and we got intercept. So we'll go ahead and just point towards this little circle. This is all work in progress, by the way. This is very, very subject to change, and how this operates. But we just followed that so that we didn't get locked down. And we find this unknown signal, which we will fly to, see what's going on in here. Oh, and we had the Lightbox location. I'm sure Too Little Tulameo has seen this plenty of times. So we're going to fly over to these asteroids. See if there's anything to find. Just a bunch of debris and a Lightbox location that isn't properly lit. Nope, okay. We could probably keep exploring, but we want to just keep going. There's probably something in some of these debris fields somewhere. We want to go that way. Alright. Just want to say you loved Everspace 1, looking forward to Everspace 2. Hey, thank you so much for your support. We're looking forward to it as well, and we're looking forward to working with you in addition to that so that we can make this the best it can be. Hey, Fire Mayor. Any other credit syncs other than player ship planned? Oh, absolutely. But that is something that we'll have to talk about later. Much, much later. Way too early to crack that bad boy open. But that's a good question, Karamshin. Karamshin? Usernames are hard to pronounce, okay? Get off my back. I'm trying my best here, folks. Alright, let's see. Let's use this scattergun because that's awesome. It has a kinetic bypass, it has increased damage against armor, and a chance to regenerate whole hit points whenever you do kinetic damage. So that's just awesome at every capacity. Are there any new locations? So the prototype is not having any work done on it. Vide Victoria. So the prototype is exactly in the same state that it was whenever we concluded it back in December, I want to say. But we are working on a dev branch build that is going to transform into the alpha in just a couple months. So in April, we will have a bunch of new content to showcase, a bunch of new content for you guys to get your hands on, and to start providing feedback, very powerful feedback that is going to start impacting the way that the game is shaped and forms. So, very good question. Very good question. Time to buy an entire sun. Oh my gosh, you guys. So, Adita, I want to say, from YouTube, asks, will there be similar process to getting glyphs like Everspace 1, or will they just be found floating around? We're looking at different options. What you see in the prototype was just a working concept for how we wanted to use the glyphs, so nothing's really locked into place. It's really hard to give a definitive answer for you, because I would love to answer it, honestly, but we don't know. We don't actually know. So we're still looking at how the glyphs are going to be used in Everspace 2, what they can do for you, if there's going to be any permanence to them, if they'll just be temporary, and all those options in between. A good question. A really great question, actually. Thanks for staying on Steam. Well, you know, honestly, I want to speak to that really quick. It's totally fine that you have your preferences. That's great. That's awesome. You know what you want, and I commend that. We actually have really good relations with Epic because we use the Unreal Engine. So because we have really strong relations with Epic, and we also obviously have really strong relations with Valve, because with Everspace 1 we did Steam Early Access and all of that stuff as well, we didn't want to do any sort of exclusivity because that's stepping on somebody's toes. You know, we are exclusive to Epic, well then we're stepping on the toes of Valve. And that partnership's gonna, if we go exclusive to Valve, then we're stepping on the toes of Epic, and so it's really a win for us, because like an exclusivity deal doesn't make any sense. it just hurts our partnerships. So it's like, from a business standpoint, it's better to not go that direction. And then also from a community standpoint, obviously it's better. So we're glad that you're thankful for that. And we're glad that it's best for us. So win-wins all around. That's great. Hey, Yuli! How's it going? Fire Mayor says, I'm so hyped for the early access this year. That'll be in September. Loved the first one, and the test version is very nice. Great work. Thank you so much. There's so much more coming. So much more coming. I'm really excited when we crack open early access in September. That is going to be a very, very exciting day. Oh, for sure. Will I be able to keep the prototype in your library? The prototype, since it's been added to your library, it is permanently bound there forever. It will never change. It will always be this. It'll always be that reminder that you contributed it to us, you supported the product, and you received this as a gift. And you have it, you just have it. And it's this friendly reminder of where it all started from. Because like that final point, when we reach the full game, comparing it back to the prototype, it's going to be really crazy to look and see the differences and like how it's been transformed. So I'm actually glad we're not touching the prototype in that sense. Because it's going to be a really nice sort of like for posterity's sake sort of thing. So Andre asks, what do you think about Stadia? Just asking, I won't get it. Well, I mean, I have a lot of personal thoughts and whatnot. If you're asking for rockfishes, there's not really too much we can comment on that, really. So, I mean, that might be a topic for another day, I suppose. But for now, you know, it's another application where you could buy games. So, yeah. All right, let's check out what's over here and talk about this Outlaw Destroyer, one of the larger vessels in Everspace 2. When I say larger, I mean he's bigger than us, but he's not really that large. I mean, come on. So with these guys, I'm going to use the scattergun, and I'm just going to absolutely freaking annihilate them. Let's see if we can one-shot. We opens up this weak point. That feels so good. That feels so good. Oh my gosh. Obviously, it's not a balanced game yet. But there will be weak points on your mini-bosses and whatnot, and your various challenges throughout the Everspace 2 experience that you can capitalize on if you can figure out what to do and how to do it. That felt really good. Alright, so guys, I'm actually going to take a quick break. I need to refill my water. And when we come back, we're going to look at some pretty cool community-driven content that you guys have made yourself. And we'll also talk a little bit about some other things. So don't go anywhere. I'll be back in a few short minutes. So... Yep, I muted the wrong line. Sorry about that. It's all fixed. Alright, I am back and I want to show you right out of the gates some new stuff that we're doing with Everspace 2, and then we'll move into the community content, if that's alright with you. We just have a couple little items to show today. It's nothing too crazy, it's nothing too wild, but still progress is being made and I want you to see it. So let's go ahead and have a look. So here we are back into the home base, and we are outfitted on our little ship here. And our restock and our repair options, they actually have these toggles now that can become automatic. So when you fly into a base, when you fly into a location that you're naturally going to like refill all my weapons, refill all my health and armors, you can just have that do that automatically now. Okay? Quite nice, actually. Quite nice. Then the other thing that we adjusted is a little bit more of the UI. So now enemies, their targeting is directly on top of them as opposed to hovering over the top. So if you see when we get really close, that marker is directly on the ship. That way you know exactly where he's at instead of it hovering above. Because if it was hovering above, it could actually be kind of tricky to know how to lock on and take care of him in the way that you're trying to dispatch. So those are the main little details of what we've kind of accomplished lately. Getting a couple more of those UI elements tweaked and refined so that they look really clean, they look really good. So just as a demonstration, we're going to try and take some damage and show you what happens when we repair. Because there's one other thing to show about that. So whenever you do want to repair your goods, something we did talk about is how your equipment can also take damage. Okay? So now when we go to this repair screen, it's not just your hull that we have to figure out and what we want to do, right? Now we could also have to repair our weapon or our shields or some other component. And this is going to be very important for whenever you're figuring out your space, whenever you're figuring out how to coordinate yourself in all of your various encounters and endeavors in the world of Everspace 2. Now I also want to take a quick moment to address something. We did have a lot of people in Discord and a couple people on Reddit and a couple people here and there everywhere who are just like craving additional content and want us to show it basically as much as possible. And, you know, we really want to do that as well. But I do have to point this out. If we were to show new content every single week, you're going to get very little stuff, and it's probably not going to be very pleasing. It's going to feel kind of like a drag. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to set up the streams where every other week we'll have a little bit of sliver of content to show you. It's like a UI update here, the repair feature, right? The refill feature. These are things that are actively being worked on. You can also see there's polish in other regards if you're looking closely. Like you see that progress is moving forward, and we have stuff that we want to show you lightly. And then there's going to be one time every month where we're going to have a nice little content package to really present stuff for you. And that's going to be those monthly, the email chains, the Kickstarter stuffs, like all of that stuff. You've already seen it the last couple months. So those weekly, monthly updates, we're going to have a little bit more to show you and a nice packaged, little package deal for you all. So that way you guys get what you want. We can really focus down the development cycle, not get overwhelmed by trying to have a little something every single week, and we all win. Sounds good, right? Excellent. So yeah, big thing here though. This is actually really good progress because now in our development build we have a way to repair this stuff. Oh my gosh. And all of this stuff, I mean, look at this. I'm just going to hover over it to see kind of the little things that we've been working on. I'm not going to tell you about any of it, but you know it's there, so you know it's at least a concept. All right, enough with that tease. Enough with that tease. All right, so we're going to go ahead and pause, and now we are going to transition over to more lovely stuff. So I do have to go back. I have to go back to this white page again. Oh my gosh, everyone's like, what in the world? But do take note. That we do have that Discord, we do have that Twitter, we obviously have the Twitch and YouTube. We really need to add YouTube on that. Will, are you watching? Well, we really need to add YouTube to this list right here. That would be all kinds of awesomes. But yeah. So first thing out of the gate, let me pop it right open because this thing is amazing. All right, you ready for this? I know I am. So this is a contribution from Bloodstar. He is a very active, well, actually he's also known as 8, very active in the Discord. And turns out he's really good at editing. So I'm just gonna let this play out, and you guys are gonna watch it. Please enjoy. Gosh. Oh, it's so good, man. So so good. Oh my gosh. Very, very, very well done. Oh my gosh. Very, very, very well done. So thank you for that contribution. Seriously cool. Very, very good stuff. So now, you all need to watch that in high resolution. I'm sure that he's going to drop a link in the Discord itself. So if you are not a member of the Discord, you really should be, by the way. And also, as a really strong point to note, we do reward backers in the Discord a backer status. So if you're in the Discord and you're watching this and you're like, wait, I didn't know this. When did this start happening? Let me know specifically. My username in Discord, it's RFG Eric. You can also search for Giraffosaur. That's me. You private message me and you say, hey, this is my email associated with my backer account. I can look it up in our database. And if it's confirmed, I will not only give you backer status, but also the tier status of where you back. So everybody knows how much you love and appreciate us. Seems fitting, right? Perfect. Also has a nice little backer lounge for you to cruise around. And there's some pretty fun shenanigans in there. It's pretty good. Very, very good. But yeah, mad props, Bloodstar. Seriously, incredible editing work. I'm already looking forward to your next cut. And man, I cannot wait to see what you do in the alpha. All right, so now we need to give a little bit of praise to you guys, the community, of course, with some really freaking outstanding stuff pertaining to basically everything that's fantastic and wonderful. So what we are covering here, we had James Matsumuri. He actually headed this himself, so fantastic job, James. He wanted to do a Valentine's Day contest with you guys to see what type of screenshots could be generated. And holy cow, everybody probably knows what already won because of how much work went into it. But some really great photos, guys. Absolutely remarkable shots. So all of these winners are going to be featured on Instagram. We'll be using in our social media. Your posts are going to be all over the place. I hope that you got your information to Will pertaining to your Twitter accounts where we can give you proper praise. So very, very exciting stuff. So without further ado, let's take a look at some of these. In third place from our community votes is Hypervolts. And this is just a really pleasant, oh my gosh, just dreamy eye wonder right here. There's always another star in the sky, even from light years away. You can still find yours. Oh my gosh, adorable. So wonderful. That's just pleasant, so pleasant, and a great shot nonetheless. Very nice spacing and just this idea of flying out there to find what you are looking for. Wonderful. Our next one comes from the Oracle of Lena. This one, oh, whoops. This one, it's more in this idea of, there's a lot of love to give. So it's all getting spread out there for you all. And my goodness, what a fantastic image this was. Just in pouring out all of those love missiles to make sure everyone gets a kiss. Swarm missiles for sure. I wonder actually if you're in the chat. I'm curious if you used the splitter glyph to make every missile split into two, because that's a lot of missiles right there, and that's awesome. That is so freaking cool. Oh my goodness. And then finally, the number one choice was by Azorka, which was remarkable because basically what they did is they used the in-game physics to shoot the asteroids into, well, let me just show you, into a shape of a heart. Like, what in the crazy world? That's insane. Like, look at that composition. They moved all of those asteroids in place. Absolutely impressive. And of course, you have like the interceptor there right in the middle that just shows all the, wait a second. Hang on a second. There we go. But it's just brilliant. It's absolutely beautiful. And how they moved all of the freaking asteroids around. Absolutely crazy awesome. This took them quite some time to accomplish, by the way. Like, I think they said it was like an hour and a half or something like that, just to like find all the asteroids and shoot them into a heart to snap this picture. This was not photo edited. And they also have proof. They have proof Look at this. Look at this. You can actually see in the screenshots, like, here's his process. Like, he's finding various asteroids here, and then he's shooting them. He's dragging the small asteroids via shots. He's got, like, halfway done. You see the M shape over here, and he's pulling all the rocks and pushing them around until finally this is a different angle. Like, this is not Photoshopped. Like, this is all legitimate. Like, the dedication to that is friggin' amazing. Seriously well done, Azorka. Thank you for giving us your love. What a remarkable thing. So you will absolutely have that #1 slot displayed on our Instagram and just announced to the world. In fact, I imagine we'll even like post this pretty soon for Valentine's Day, especially because that's just like, what a solid shot. And obviously I'm a dork, so I know that I showed this already, but yeah, I had fun with some blueberries and yet another chicken nugget. Now I made a little interceptor. I figured it'd be fun to reproduce something that you guys did. You know, you use the tools that we provide and then we copy you. It makes sense in some cosmic sense. So very, very good work, all of you, and congratulations to the winners. I'm already looking forward to the next contest that we're going to have, because we're going to have more, of course. So definitely stay tuned for all of those fun little shenanigans themselves. Very, very good work. I want to keep this up on the screen, because that's just, wow, man. Like, that's so freaking cool. Very, very good. Yeah, and Matsumuri actually says, James, Matsumuri says, we legitimately thought it was a Photoshop when it was posted. Then we got the post about it, how it was done. And yeah, like, we were all looking at it, and even when I was looking at this, I was looking at that asteroid on the right side, and I thought, man, it looks like 2 cuts. I feel like that's not realistic enough. You can obviously tell it was edited. That was me. I was saying, like, no, it was obviously edited, because you can't actually have the randomization in the game do this. Well, which you can't, but there's physics on some asteroids. So, very well played, Azorka. Very, very well played. Is Rockfish on the Everspace subreddit? Yes, we are. Yeah, I'm mostly on there, and I'm mostly quiet. I really intervene whenever anything gets a little too crazy over there, Adita. And also whenever there's like some stuff that really needs clarification. I will fully admit that I have been a little absent from the Reddit, particularly this week, but I'll definitely be jumping in on that beginning of next week for sure, and making sure that we're getting the coverage we need over there. So thank you for pointing that out. Very, very good. What is love? Oh my gosh. Rip your 4-1 game. Oh yeah, Tula Mayo as well. Been trying to do a fresh, clear, which I encourage anybody to do this. I think it's so much fun. It's a very enjoyable experience to wipe your save file in Everspace 1. I'm serious, okay? I'm deadpan serious here, okay? Like, wiping your save file and then trying to beat the very first run. And from there, then adjusting it to the difficulty of your liking and seeing how quickly you can actually finish the entire story campaign. Tula Mayo almost finished it in 4 runs, the full story. But he got in his very last area when he was fighting the boss. So definitely encourage you guys to try it. I've done it a number of times myself, and it is incredibly satisfying. Like, it feels so good. Definitely something to keep your gaming skills at work and all of that glory. All right. My gosh, that image is just too good. Oh my gosh, it's too good. So very good. You bet you're trying again? Good! I want to see that. So some other fun things about community. Last week, I know that I showcased 2 guys that I was following here and there because they were playing through Everspace as well. Keep in mind, if you guys are streaming Everspace, there's a pretty good chance that Will or Matsumuri, let me use everybody's names, Will or James or even Roy or Corbin or myself, we might also be watching you. Members of the community could also sneak in and watch you as well. And sometimes we have a little bit of fun. There was a guy from last week that actually joined the stream, and he didn't even know that I was part of Rockfish at all. And I was just like asking questions about the game. He was explaining them to me, and he was just having a good time. And it was just lovely. And, you know, it's these moments with you guys that just end up being incredibly fun. And then we say, you know, oh, we're actually Rockfish. And then everyone's like, it's crazy. It's a mind-boggling moment. So definitely join us for those shenanigans because we love messing with people. And speaking of messing with people, another really important thing, and thank you, Astrid, for pointing this out. We are going to PAX East. I don't know if we've made any formal announcement aside from Twitter about this. So we are going to PAX East. So if you're in the PAX East area and you want to go give us a high five, first off, good luck reaching this. But I will be there, James will be there, and Roy will all be there at the booth, showcasing Everspace 2 for you to play, to ask questions, take photos with us, be silly, be crazy. Maybe we'll have some insightful new information there to share with you because you show up. Ooh, maybe. And we'll have a lot of fun. So definitely be looking out for us there, PAX East. And it should be a really good time. Time to stream Everspace? Absolutely. So we do have a bit of time left in the stream, and I want this to be our community time. So whether that means answering questions that you have, whether that means you wanted me to showcase some more prototype gameplay for Everspace 2, or if you want me to do like an Everspace 1 run and give you some tips and tricks and pointers, I'm happy to do whatever at this point. The world is now your oyster, whatever that means. So yeah, let's sit back, let's have a conversation, and let's decide what we want to do moving forward. And if you can't decide, I will. It's fine. Also, I'm eating my work of art now. So I got my chicken nuggets that I crafted. Oh my gosh. Everybody knew I was going to do this. I love food. Can I just make that announcement pretty clear? Grant me 5,000 credits challenge? What's that? You guys are silly. Well, nobody's talking too much up, so I think I'm going to dive into Everspace 2. I'm going to work through the prototype a little bit more, just because it's fun. Yum yum indeed, Super Nuki. Yum yum indeed. So yeah, let's go ahead and pop back over to the obligatory wait page, like usual, as I boot things up. Teach us the cook. I'm a microwave chef. All natural. I know how to push the best buttons. Pandemic trauma, oh my gosh. Alright. Don't talk with your mouth full. This is a very fair statement. My apologies. Hopefully you're not offended. Oh my gosh. The world's in chaos. I've offended thee by eating food. Oh no! One more time. Do we have heavy? Oh, I'm sorry if I missed your question. My apologies. I am so sorry. Yeah, you actually asked a really good question. I'm going to read your initial question, and I'll address that Akibara over on YouTube. So the question is, does the gunship class heavies in this sequel have a real shield? Well, this is actually kind of hard to answer because we haven't done the full reveal on the heavies yet. But you are right. In the first game, they don't have a shield and only have frontal shield, and it's an ability and have a cooldown. So we want to make sure that each of the ship types are very unique in their attributes and their modifiers. So the chance of having maybe one of the subclasses of a heavy without a shield is definitely there. Maybe we'll see for the first time a heavy ship in Everspace that also does have a shield at its disposal. Or maybe we'll see it have just an absolutely massive amount of armor as well. So we'll see. We'll have to see. Yeah, it wouldn't be like a front shield. I'm talking like a full shield around the entire vessel. But it is also hard to like really fully give an answer to that, even if we did know, just because a lot can still be shaped and changed during the course of development. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that each of the playable ships is fun for people to play. And if it's not fun because it doesn't have a shield, well, then we have to critically analyze what that looks like and how we can make up for that. And if we can't make up for that, then we'll probably add a shield, right? So it's a balancing, gameplay sort of feature. But we have some great people working on the team to make sure that we'll make that happen as well. So it'll be good. That's how it feels. Oh my gosh, Blood's dark. Goodness gravy. All right. So let's go ahead and pop right back into Everspace 2's prototype. And let's have some fun. What everybody seems to like this ship a lot, so we'll go ahead and fly this one. Through this time, I'm going to just be flying about. I'm going to be doing stuff. If you guys have specific questions, if you guys want to talk about stuff that you're working on, maybe like hobbying work, where it's like you're building a interceptor out of Legos or something, like, I don't know, that'd be really cool. Also, I wanted to show this, the interceptor out of Chicken Nugget. I actually have it right here. Like, definitely had fun working on that. It's a tiny little thing. I can't actually, oh my goodness. It's so delicate. I'm not going to eat it. Not yet. But even just crafting something out of a small object. I want to see more of that stuff in the fan art. My goodness, you guys are so good at making videos, but I know there's some people that are crafty out there with your hands. Like, come on, give me the intricate crafts. That's what I want to see next. I want to see some crazy good skill with like tiny cute things. That's what I want to see. Will there be glyphs or modifiers in Everspace 2? They might not be called glyphs or modifiers, but yes, we will have things that absolutely modify and change things going on. Some of the things you can actually see in the prototype, they're called conditions. So a really easy example of that is like when you're corroded, right? So when an enemy's corroded in Everspace 1, that enemy has the corrosion condition, and they're going to take a certain amount of damage over time. In Everspace 2, we have those similar types of conditions, except they apply to a ton of different attributes. It could be something as simple as your cloak. So you see at the top of the screen, right above the dialogue, there says 10 seconds, 9 seconds. That attribute right there, that is a condition on the ship that says nobody can see me for that duration. And there will be a lot of different modifiers, a lot of different glyphs, if you will, in that capacity, that are going to apply to the conditions of your ship and the conditions of your opponents. So really good question. Really, really good question. Is the prototype music at all representative of the final game music? To a degree, yes, it is. It's not like finalized, but yeah, it absolutely is reminiscent for sure. And there are several tracks in the prototype that are straight up being used in the full game, at least to our knowledge. Right now, we're pretty happy with the results. But there has also been a lot of work done to the music, especially through transition effects between music. Look at this. EMP'd the mines so the mines don't go off. So now we can grab a mine. Let's see if we can get real cheeky with this. If it doesn't blow up in our face. We missed! That could have been really cool. And I failed you guys. I'm sorry. Ah. But you can do some pretty cheeky stuff with this grapple mechanic. This guy's beefy! Beefy McWellington. Maybe we can find a legendary item that Lol Hype doesn't have yet. Which, by the way, LOL Hype, do you have all of the legendaries? He's almost done collected every single one in the prototype, which is not a small number. Curious how many more you still have to go. Probably like 2 more or something. Another question, okay. It's kind of important. In this game, you gave us some models on previous videos, streams, Every Sentinel Interceptor ships have a different model, but do they have their own stats like speed, etc.? So, yes and no. So the core element of that, and this is a great question over on YouTube again from Akibara, so thank you. So what we showed, to be clear, we showed the wings, just the wings of the medium class ships. And that might not even be fully representative of all the wings that are available in the full game, but that's kind of what we're working at from that point. So that being said, those were the wings of the medium class ships. And those for the Interceptor, the Sentinel, and the Assault Fighter, they will have different attributes associated with them in tandem with being used. So, yes, to that degree, absolutely. It would have different speed, it would have different handling, it would have different firepower, stuff of that nature. But we also are looking into the concept where you guys have full customization over what your ship looks like. So, possibly, no guarantees on this, but possibly, you would be able to choose the stats that you want specifically with the style that you want specifically. This would be something more towards the late game findings, something like, what's it called? In Diablo 3, they have like it's just like the aesthetic options. So basically, you get the wing look that you want with the stats that you want. It's basically like that, is what I'm saying. Then that could also apply to your engines, then apply to the ship body, then apply to etc., etc. So that's how we are approaching that conceptually, and how we would like to address it. We'll have to see what type of time we have in development, and see what you guys are pumping towards us for your likes and your dislikes. Transmogrification! Thank you, Talon. Oh man, what a boss. Bloodstar calling me a nerd? No, you. Got him. Alright. But a great question. I hope I answered it to your liking. A very great question. Oh, Bloodstar, I'm going to answer your question that I ghosted. Whenever you're cloaked, can ships see you when you fire? Basically, as of right now, especially, we have it working in a similar capacity of Everspace 1. So let me just show you. Basically, when you are cloaked and you fire, your opponent knows where you're at, even though you're still cloaked. So if we cloak like this and they can't see us, now I'm going to fire. Oh, actually, no, he can't. Oh, no, he can't see us. So now he can see us even though we're still cloaked because we fired. So you do have to be careful even when you're cloaked. But that doesn't mean there may be a certain module or device that would be modified to where when you're cloaked you can't be seen even when you're firing. Who knows? There could be some really cool things that show up with modifiers in the game and your perks that you choose. Blueberries! So a lot of options. Got him. Do they know where you are or where you have been when you shoot? No, they know exactly where you're at. So like when you shoot, even if you keep moving, they're like actively looking for you is the idea. So now they're shooting you down, as opposed to when you initially cloak, they're like, wait, where did he go? Right? So that's what it is in concept, but things can change, but we're actually pretty happy with the results of how they operate right now. So, a good question. Did I do a meme? Probably on accident. I have so many questions. No, it's fine. Akibara, keep asking them. I love it. This is a community stream. It is meant for you guys, for us to share in the space with you, to ask those questions and just have fun. So it's great. So by all means, ask more questions if you got them. Super Nuki on YouTube asks, what are some play styles that would be possible in this game? Oh my gosh. Oh, now that's a good question. And I'm going to be careful upon answering it because I don't want to reveal too much. Okay? I don't want to reveal too much because there's going to be some really fun things that you're going to be able to do. Oh my goodness. But we talked a bit about the grappling mechanic, right? So there's a very strong ability to disable your opponents up close, like disable the mines, grab a mine, toss it into your foe, just grab a drone, maybe even like to some capacity, like catch a missile out of the air. A lot of these shenanigans with grabbing and using a piece of scrap metal and chucking at your foe and watching the physics take effect and throw them into another asteroid, stuff like that. So just the grapple mechanic alone can provide some close corner shenanigans that are just hilarious. You pair that with, say, a scattergun, and holy cow, holy dang, in fact, holy dang, that would be, it's such a good time. Such a good time, just alone. So you could just like play a melee ship, essentially, using the grapple and some other close-range weapons just for absolute sheer goodness. You also have your long-range options as well. Do a barrel roll? Oh yeah, so barrel rolls, I don't have a lot of handling on this ship right now, but there would definitely be the ability to have some much faster turning here. Now, if you're talking about a shortcut to do a fast barrel roll, I suppose it's a possibility to do in the future, but it's not really a focus. But maybe that's a point of discussion that we can have on the Discord or maybe in the forums and see what people would like. So, but some other play styles, I kind of like the long-range play style where you're using the equivalent of a shock rifle. Now we are calling it the... Of course I blank on it in the moment. Is it the railgun? I think it's the railgun. Anyway, a long-range weapon that you have to be really precise in how you shoot. Then your opponents are going to start coming your way. And you'll be able to, like, chuck independent mines forward now. So before, in Everspace 1, you had plasma mines that you dropped behind you as you were running away. So now you could long-range snipe them, and then you could chuck a mine out and forward, so it slows down in front of you, right? And it slows down because arcade environment versus realistic environment. So this guy starts coming at you, and you know that you lined up that mine shot perfectly, so you just start flying away. And if he's not a smart AI, he's going to run right into that mine. Otherwise, you might cap off a certain area that he would be able to fly straight at you, and now he's going to fly around because he is a smart AI, right? And now when he goes around, you have like this perfect setup to like blast some explosive that's going to be near where he comes around that corner to, or, you know, set up some sort of alternate attack where you're just keeping it from afar and then also employing these guerrilla warfare tactics in order to best your foes. So that's going to be another option. Then you have like all of the, oh my gosh, there's so many that I want to tell you about that we haven't revealed yet. And all I can tell you is that depending on how you build your ship, depending on what perks you choose, and depending on what items you get and how you combine all of this, there's going to be a ton of different successful builds that you're going to see emerge from Everspace 2. It's not something where everyone's going to go, oh, well, this is the best build, we all have to do that. Like, we're really putting a lot of emphasis to make a nice, balanced experience to play the way that you want and get satisfaction out of playing it that way. Does that make sense? But man, I'm excited to tell you more about some of those play styles, but there'll be a time when they're ready to show. So you'll just have to be patient with some of them, but they're fun. Let me tell you what. So there's a gigantic space monster. In the trailer, there's a freaking huge tentacle. So, so the best answer is we have definitely been listening to the community. And their excitement for things to come. We also have some concept art of a giant space whale that's flying behind an Everspace 2, I think it's a Defender ship, which is one of the heavy class ships. So just pointing it out that, it is concept art and that it's definitely something that a lot of people have been talking about. And I'll just leave it there because you never know when something that's really awesome to showcase will come up in the future. That's all. Excellent question. Bounty Hunter, Trainer Miner. Oh, Super Nuki, of course. Yes. So, jobs. Let's talk about jobs really quick, and then I'm going to bounce back over to Twitch because I see a lot of questions coming over there too, as well. So, Super Nuki, just quick answer. Whenever you're going to stations, there's also going to be essentially a job board. And the job boards are going to offer you a variety of options, including but not limited to bounty hunting, mining operations, extractions, which could be like you have to hide and fly into a site and pull data out of it. There could be trade routes that are optimal, like gathering equipment, collections, destroying bases, a lot of different jobs, and it would basically be on a job board like this. Now, obviously, this is the missions tab, but like there'd be a job board where you could choose all these different things, and that will actually affect your relationship with the different factions in the game. So definitely think freelancer in that case, because there's a similar sort of element to how those interactions would work. But we are spinning it with our own unique twist for reward systems to those various missions according to how well you do. If you mess up through the mission but you still complete it, maybe you don't get nearly as much of a reward, or maybe you tick off that faction as opposed to make good with them. Various elements like that. So, very, very good. Completely different question. Have you guys been involved in the development, blah, blah, blah? So, the answer is no. The answer is no, as Michael absolutely smacked down. Thank you for answering that, Michael. I didn't want to read the full thing out because I don't want to give it any praise. Oh, snap! Whoo! Shots fired. Hey, everybody calm down, okay? All of us are developers here. We love and respect everybody else. Sometimes we're just glad to be in a better position. That's all I'm saying. All right! So let's look at some question over on Twitch. So we see, did we see the ancient bubbles again? And are there getting some backstory? The ancient bubbles. Oh, you mean like the ancient splitters? So ancient splitters and the ancients themselves, like we know that they're out there. We know that we've encountered them, and maybe the clones of Everspace 1 accidentally fueled something into something more. Because the ancients as a whole weren't really discovered. This was all kind of given from our lore stream last week, and if I missed it, well, let's explain it now. Basically, the ancients are the precursors to the Okar, or so it seems. And the Okar consider them kind of like a godly figure. So a lot of praise, a lot of clerics kind of worship the ancients, if you will. And they didn't really start showing up in the demilitarized zone until this clone showed up at about Sector 4 and unlocked this ancient warp gate. And then all of these ancients start showing up at various parts of the demilitarized zone. So there may be a lot more to expand upon that and why they started showing up and what they're doing in the demilitarized zone for having not been seen for so long. Could definitely be a new point to see and explain through the story of Everspace 2. So good question. In Everspace, we had ancients and rogue nanomachine swarms. Yes. Absolutely. Will there be more weird, spooky sci-fi enemies we can look forward to in Everspace 2? That would be pretty dope, wouldn't it? Very good question. Let's see. You said you listened to the community, so the giant space well will be pettable. Talon, you... Touche. Alright, touche, sir. But maybe not all things want to be pet in space. Sometimes they might infect you. Just pointing that out. It would be a terrible thing to get some type of space parasite, wouldn't it? Let's see. Wildlife petting device upgrade. Oh my gosh. Alright, let's look at some real questions. Will there be multiple weapon mounts with the ability to use multiple main weapons at once, like Freelancer? Or is it one weapon set? So T3 Cube. This is a really good question. A lot of people have been asking about this. So the way that we are approaching this in the game is that the core functionality is that you're finding these varying equipments that are the item you are using, right? Think of it kind of like a weapon, a hand slot in a traditional like fantasy styled RPG. Like you can only hold one weapon, right? So my question to you is, in a fantasy game, would you want to hold 4 axes in one hand? Like would that feel good for you? Like would you just use all 4 of these different axes at the same time while you're holding a shield? Because that's how we're kind of approaching it in Everspace too, is that each one of these is kind of like a hand of your spaceship. And if we are making it to where like you have these multiple weapon mounts, then that's going to change the DPS factor considerably. So like with your calibrated pulse laser and your autocannon in tandem with one another, you're not going to be doing a really great job against shields, and then you're not going to be doing a really great job against armor. You're just going to like slowly tick them both down, and then when you finally get to the hole, okay, now you're doing a decent amount of damage. As opposed to making sure you use your pulse laser against the shield, which drops it super fast, then you cycle to your autocannon to take out their armor super fast, and then you can use either to your heart's content to drop their hull. We think that this is much more emergent gameplay that keeps you on your toes, that helps you strategize quite a bit more and having to select a single item, as opposed to being able to use multiple at the same time. Whereas using multiple at the same time might actually be more damaging for the player, even though it seems kind of cool. So that all being said, we do have some of the larger vessels with more than 2 spaces for their weaponry. So we actually showed some of this in-game footage of the blockouts for the ships, where they actually have 4 points where weapons are firing from. So after spewing all of that out, the possibility of maybe having 2 different weapons selected on a heavy ship, it could show up, but it's going to be very important that we design it in a way that doesn't accidentally hinder you. It would only help. And so that might look a little bit different than what you are imagining, especially from something like Freelancer, where you can like turn off certain items and keep other ones on, and all of that stuff in between. It's a very different game, and we're using a very different setup. So a really great question, though. A really great question. You would use 10 axes, too little, too little. Oh my gosh. How would you even hold, like, you just like tape them all on your arm, just like swinging all 10 axes at once? Oh my gosh. Ridiculous, Tulameo. Oh my gosh. How many axes do you want? Yes! Oh my gosh. Guys. Bold of you to assume I would have used 4 axes. Oh my goodness. I'm glad we're having fun here. Will you support analog peripherals? I have a Wooting 2, and the aimbot affects my mouse from using the analog controls. So we are supporting, if you're talking about like HOTAS support and stuff like that, we are absolutely going to support a lot of those devices to play Everspace 2 with. To your liking. We learned a lot through our process with Everspace 1 and being able to use those. So we'll maybe even have a couple new tricks and features to adjust those as well. So good stuff. Oh yeah, like 4 primary weapons like GOF. Yeah, I guess that's also a better correlation to make. Akibara. Yeah, good point. Wooting 2 is an analog keyboard. Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't sure what Wooting 2 was. My apologies. Aimbot for my mouse is super generous. Okay. I'd have to ask a key individual on the team if we would support like a Wooting 2, because I'm simply not sure. My guess is going to be yes, but I would have to get more information for you. So if you're in the Discord, definitely dive in there. I can ask that question, and it's Friday, so I probably wouldn't get a response until Monday, but I can get back to you and give you the full answer if you don't mind waiting. Because I want to give you the answer, I simply don't know. And it makes me feel bad, but I want to find out for you. Is that okay? Is that acceptable? Can we touch base on Monday in Discord? I'm actually going to jot this down so I don't forget. Hang on one second. Because I think that's a really good question. I want to make sure you guys are getting answered. I don't like leaving questions unanswered. Unless it's Bloodstar, and I like to ghost it. Wooting 2. So thank you for bringing that to our attention, sir. Transparency is amazing. Hey, I'm so glad. I am so thankful that you guys are coming to these streams, asking these questions, and we're able to have a conversation. That is the entire purpose of this stream. It's working. We don't want to leave you guys thinking that something's going on that's not going on, and we don't want you to think that we're going in a direction that you don't want us to go, or we are. Like, we want everything to be out there so that we can correct and guide, and oh my gosh, we just want to make things happen, and it's happening. So thank you for using this tool to help in that regard. And please continue the conversations on Discord. Please continue the conversations on Reddit, on Twitter, on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook even, on Instagram, everywhere you can. Barrage us, because we want to help. We want to do what's best for the company. We want to do what's best for the game. We want to do what's best for the community. Like, all these things are important. So thank you. Thank you, guys. You are the rock stars here. All right, so Firemare, and then I'm going to jump over to YouTube because I see a couple more questions over there. Firemare says, will there be some differences between the ship types? Yes. Yeah, straight up yes. Yeah, there will be many differences between the different ship types. Very similarly to an Everspace 1. Even the starting points, even if they kind of felt a little bit samey, if you will, they still had distinct qualities. Like the Interceptor, it was a jack of all trades. It could use every single primary weapon in the game. Whereas the Scout could use a very limited number of items, but it was incredibly fast. The gunship obviously had no shields and was really slow, but it's a freaking space tank. It had like tons of weapons, special weapons that only it could use. A front shield that made it invulnerable. So if you positioned it right, it could just be insane. And it had its own turret. Then you have the Sentinel, which is very similar to the Interceptor, except instead of being a jack of all trades, it basically is incredibly specific, built for all of those energy shenanigans, right? So, had some pretty crappy weapon item selections, and it only had one primary weapon slot, which made it a little bit difficult depending on what you were using. But the devices that it could use, both passive and active, were just friggin' unreal because of how deep its energy pool was and how quickly it regenerated that. So each ship in that capacity operated very differently with very unique play styles. And that's exactly what we want to do entering into Everspace 2. And if we're really fortunate, we'll even have those play styles emerge from just this, like from ships in the same class. So like from the three ships, for example, in the medium class, right? We have the Interceptor, we have the Sentinel, and we have the Assault Fighter. We would want each one of them to have a unique play style associated with them. They might have more similar stats, but operate in something very specifically. And then you'd go over to the light fighters, one of which is the Scout, and you would have the ability to customize each one of those in a very unique way. But obviously all three of those will operate very differently from the medium ship class, right? And then same thing with the heavies. So very, very good. Very good, very good. All right, I'm going to jump over to YouTube really quick. Hey, do you also speak German? So, fun fact, Tim, I am the only non-German who works at Rockfish, because I am on the American side. I'm the American ambassador. So I am situated right in the middle of America in the land of wheat and cows known as Kansas. So I have been trying to pick up a little bit of German. Hasn't been going well, I'm going to be honest. But it's something that I'm trying to get better at, especially the more that I go to conventions and the more that I... So it makes it also easier, like team meetings, when I'm included in those, that I can kind of understand and speed up the process for all of that stuff. But no, I only speak filthy English. So it's good. Guten Tag. Ah, yes. Very good. Ja, das ist sehr gut. I can tip cows, that's right. Oh my gosh, you guys are crazy. Anyway, let's see. Weapon slots are awesome. I'd love to see this. Okay. HOTAS, yeah. Will there be a warp drive to build instead of portals? So, point of conversation here is that we have interconnected locations all around here. We actually know that there is a warp gate at this location, and there's a line from it to another specific location here. So that's very likely a warp gate line, but this doesn't have any warp gates connected to it. So how are we going to get there? Is it just not developed yet? Is that something that we're still working on? Is there going to be another means of travel? I don't know. But I will say that in Everspace 1, we absolutely have varied options for traveling forward as well. So not only are warp gates present, but we also have the general hyperdrive unit to launch you from one point to another one, as well as ancient warp gates which thrust you into new regions altogether. And then additionally to that, there are wormholes which tend to go to very specific sites of energy, but there are lots and lots of ways, and maybe even more that are unfound yet, to travel about the areas. Something else that I like to bring up in this point of conversation is that the home base, in the current form here, the home base is right here, right? If you were, say, over in Vidar, Udar, Midar, and you wanted to change your ship out, and you can only change your ship at the home base, is it fun to have to manually fly back to Ashima, then to Mintaka, then to Terminus, and then to Cedo to go back to your home base? Especially when it's an arcade game where we're trying to keep things fast-paced. I point this out because we're thinking about this too. And there's a very strong chance that we're going to have a lot of different ways to make traveling very easy for you with the full game coming out. So very good question. And don't worry. Will Everspace 2 use ray tracing? We are considering it. How far away is VR? Very. So Michael, another good question about VR. Everspace 1. Everspace 1's VR was a mixed bag. We got a lot of criticism. We got a lot of feedback from you guys pertaining to VR. Some people loved it. Most people didn't. And I think the big reason for that is because we didn't make it a VR game. We made it a PC game with VR support. Okay? And so when the VR community dove into it, they felt that it was supposed to be a VR game and the full experience thereof. And they were left a little short-handed. We looked at VR as a bonus because our community asked for it, and then we applied it into the game as a feature, right? But it just didn't turn out super well overall. Now, that being said, if we do approach a VR in Everspace 2, this is a big if, big, bold, underlined, italicized, like, big if we go with a VR experience with Everspace 2, we will have it as a separate application. So you could either buy Everspace 2 or VR Everspace 2. And VR Everspace 2, because we have it as a separate app, we can devote all of our resources, all of our attention, all of the development time necessary to make that VR experience shine in every capacity that it is supposed to without making it some sort of add-on feature, some sort of bonus sort of thing. Like, it is fully capable and fully functional in that capacity. That's if we go that route. So that's our thoughts. That's where we're at with the VR element. And we'll see what our development schedule brings us and what you guys want to see. So, a good question. A good question. I see Michael's answering some questions over on Twitch. Thank you for doing that. I'm going to answer a couple more over on YouTube really quick just to make sure I'm not missing anything. When you're included in the meetings. Super Nuki, sometimes our schedules misalign because there's a 7-hour difference from where I live versus where Rockfish Games Studio is. So, when I am in those meetings, it's... I'm not waking up at 3 in the morning to make a meeting, I'll tell you that. Oh, what time is it? What time is it? Am I over streams? Oh, no, we're good. We're good. So we got about 2 minutes left. Are there any last questions that I can help answer? Akabara, yeah, I like your idea about basically like a Mido system that didn't have a warp gate. Yep. Absolutely. Old gen consoles or next gen? Right now, Tim, what we are planning on doing is PC, Mac, Linux, and that's going to be through Steam and GOG, possibly Epic Store. And then we'll also be on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Now, a lot of people are already asking, you like, well, the PlayStation 5 is blah, 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 coming around, blah, blah. The possibility is there. If we have that possibility and, we make the partnerships that are necessary and all of that stuff move forward, we will make an official announcement for it, okay? We will let you know the moment that we know if we're going to do something like that. So right now, PC, Mac, Linux, Xbox One, PlayStation 4. We do not include the Switch in there because the Switch just isn't capable of the hardware that we're pumping out. The software that we're pumping out. It just wouldn't be able to handle it. But who knows what Nintendo's working on? Maybe they could have something around the corner that we could utilize. So, good question. We'll have to tell you later. Good question. Would we be able to buy the soundtrack post-release? I'm thinking yeah. I'm thinking absolutely. Yeah, we have the soundtrack available for Everspace 1. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't for Everspace 2. And I'm glad you're digging the tunes. Oh my gosh, there's so many tracks that you guys haven't heard yet that you guys are just, oh my goodness. Oh, yes. Yes. Wonderful. Will there be space nukes? That would be pretty dope, wouldn't it? All right, let's see what else is getting asked and if there's anything that Michael maybe had missed. Over on Twitch, and then we're going to close out the stream. Some hideout mechanic where you can build a home base in some systems. That could be kind of cool, Fire Mayor. I mean, we did see in the stream today how you can take out the outlaw operative in that base, right? So maybe by doing that, now that base is capturable. Maybe GMB are going to swarm in and they're going to establish a new base there. Maybe the Oak are just going to outright destroy the asteroid. Maybe another outlaw faction is going to set up shop. And it's going to be a faction that we're actually on good terms with. Or maybe we will establish ourselves there and build out our, connections of many bases. That'd be pretty crazy. But maybe that is a possibility. There could be something like that. Very good. Do you plan on ever making anything besides space games? For right now, our focus is space games. I suppose there's that possibility. But right now, our focus is space. Since this is more open world, is there a simulated economy? Yes, we will have more information about how our economy is going to work in the full game experience. Because it's single player, we want to make sure it's not something that's crazy exploitable. We also want to make sure that it's not something that kills your fun factor. So because of that, we don't want it to be static, but we also don't want it to be highly dynamic. So we're trying to find this middle ground wiggle room that's just absolutely perfect and beautiful. All right. So like I said, we'll have more information about that in the future though. So a good question. Your question was Miss Talon? Oh no, what was your question? I'm scrolling up. Would hiding be an option, behind an asteroid with engines on quiet? Oh yeah, I think we're going to be doing stuff like that. I think that could be a really cool element. And if you haven't made that post in the Discord suggestions or on the forums, definitely make it so, because I know that we do have missions that are styled behind stealth. That sounds amazing. Quieting your engines, not boosting, right? That would be really, really cool. Okay, I'm going to answer one more question. Who's the lucky winner? Will there be a hardcore version? A question from T3 Cube. This is a really great question. And it's also really hard to say at this point. Something I do want to mention is that hardcore mode in Everspace 1 actually came around a little bit later in development, where we wanted to give players who really like that the true roguelike experience versus a roguelite. We wanted to use that permadeath experience to like really throw them over the edge and enjoy that in its fullest. I'm actually a big roguelite enthusiast and roguelike enthusiast myself. And so the hardcore mode is probably what I enjoy the most out of Everspace 1. It's something that we can look into. It's something that we'll have a lot of internal talks about, I'm sure. As of right now, it's really hard to say. I mean, we're making this full-blown campaign, and we want to provide a lot of options in an open-world space. What would that look like in a hardcore side of things? Is that like something where it's permanent and the entire campaign and all of your progress is lost, and something where you could literally have 200 plus hours of? And would that be fun? Or does that need to look like a completely separate game mode, in which case now we have to decide, is this something that we also want to add to the game, in addition to all of that rich storytelling and that campaign that we're offering? So it's a toss-up. It's really hard to say. So we'll have to discuss that, and I hope that you present your ideas and suggestions. Everybody presenting all of those beautiful ideas and suggestions wherever you can. I do encourage you the most to hit up the forums, just because it catalogs those thoughts. Top question or suggestion is cataloged with all the conversation right there, as opposed to Discord, which can get really wishy-washy since it's just a constant stream of ideas. So pick your poison and how you're navigating that. But we will absolutely be in conversation. I just know it. It's going to be good. So I'm done with answering questions. Guys, thank you so much for coming out to the stream. Seriously, it is always my pleasure to do these for you. You guys are just wonderful, and I love you so much. Thank you to Bloodstar /8 for that incredible edited video. For our contest winners, Hypervolt, the Oracle of Lena, and Azorka, thank you so much for your dedication to capturing some really impressive shots for Valentine's Day. Be looking for your stuff posted on Twitter, posted on Instagram, and I think that's all we got. You guys have been awesome. I have been Eric Schrader, the community ambassador for Rockfish Games. Don't stop being awesome, and we'll catch you in the next stream next week, same time on Friday. Toodles!